Did you succeed building this project? Let's now do it together. And for that, I'll start by adding a components folder to this src folder, because we'll definitely need a couple of components. And I'll start by adding a sidebar component, which will later allow me to switch between different projects, and which will also contain a button that allows me to add a project. Now for that here, in the components folder, I'll add a project's sidebar.jsx file. And in that file, I'll export my function, my component function, that's of course called project's sidebar, like this. In this component, we then want to return some JSX code, of course, as we always do. And here I'll return the built-in aside component as a wrapper around the content of this sidebar. And in that aside component, I'll start with an h2 element where I'll say your projects. Then below this h2 element, I later want to have my list of projects, but at the moment we have none, so I'll ignore that for now. And instead add a div below this h2 element, which includes a button that should then be used to start creating a new project. Therefore, on this button, I'll say add project, like this. We can also say plus add project to have this little icon here. Now with that, I got a basic skeleton, a basic structure for this component. And now back in the app component, we can use that here. So instead of outputting that h1 element here in the app component, I'll output my project's sidebar component, which also must be imported from the project sidebar.jsx file. And I'll now actually replace that fragment here with a main element, which should wrap the main content of this site, which is this sidebar and then later also the project details. With that, if we save that, we can see this sidebar here, though of course at the moment it doesn't look like much. So it's now time to add some styling.